Welcome to the Mindset Advantage. This is element one. Over the next 5 elements, these piece together to make your whole life expanded program and experience. And we're starting with the mind. And we're starting with the mind for an important reason. Your mind, your beliefs, shaping your thoughts, shaping your feelings, shaping your decisions and your actions and your results and your life. So remembering that what's going on in here has a lot more to do with what's going on out there than you may realize. So today I want to talk to you about your beliefs. I want to talk to you about how your beliefs became your beliefs. And I want to talk to you about different lessons that you've learned along the way, what you can let go of, and how you can move forward from here in a way that you're supporting and empowering yourself versus creating the same cycles, the same habits over and over and over. And also how you can show up as the observer in your life. Often you might notice that your life can feel familiar. And did you know that a lot of what's going on in your life is a lot of habits and patterns from decisions that you're making over and over and over? So this can go for positive and healthy decision making and negative, destructive decision making. It's so easy for things to become habitual, and as they become habitual, it's just your go-to, your automatic response. Also within this conversation, if you've never heard of ANTS, which stands for automated negative thoughts, that's what's so easy to happen and where the mind goes. If you think about your thoughts in a day, you might have 60,000 thoughts. And within these thoughts, how many of those are negative? It may be too hard to say, I'm going to be the gatekeeper of every single thought, and that's not at all what I'm asking you to do. But predominantly, are your thoughts empowering or disempowering? And as you start to have a pulse on that regularity, you can start shifting into more empowering thoughts. There are really simple ways to do this, and especially to start your day. And we'll get into that a little bit more next week. But for today, I'm going to urge you to consider, where have your beliefs even come from, and are they still serving you? And if they aren't, can you upgrade those? It's taken a while for you to get where you are today. And these different beliefs and thought patterns have been ingrained in you from the beginning of your life. And maybe even before. You could have inherited different belief systems that have come from your family, that have come from society, and again, that may not be resonating with who you are today. So let's loosen those up a little bit and shift into the beliefs that serve you. From the ages of 0 to 14, a lot of your subconscious beliefs are locked into place. This could come from things that are said to you like, you're not good at sports, or you're not an artist, or you're not good at money. They could be things that you've heard front and center that are spoken directly to you. They could have been things that you heard about someone else that you related to, that you thought, oh, that must mean that's about me too. There's so many different ways that those have gotten locked in. Over the next week, I really want you to tune in to different things that serve as triggers to you and ask yourself, where did this come from? This can kind of be fun. You might start remembering different stories that you're like, oh my gosh, that one time at Disney, or when my mom said this. And it could be also a little bit painful, because with that can come different emotions and feelings. So give yourself the grace to explore and start to notice the stories that locked in the different belief systems. And again, asking yourself, do these serve me today? Or did these serve as, honest defense mechanisms so that you could survive in the past? And did that become then a habit that got locked in that is just automated happening today? If some of your thoughts came from a place of survival, I have great news for you. And this news, if you've never heard of it, is called neuroplasticity. It used to be thought that your brain was just your brain and that you had a number of brain cells and that was the end of the story. Literally, you might remember hearing like, don't suck down that helium, you're gonna kill off your brain cells, and that's the only brain cells that you have. That was the story then, and that is not the story any longer. Modern science has introduced neuroplasticity that actually says you can create new neural pathways for your brain, which allows you to live again at a more elevated level of existence. So whatever you've heard for a lifetime, whatever habits and patterns you've heard for a lifetime, whatever thought systems you've known for your lifetime, All of that can be changed from today forward. But you know where it starts? It starts with you, and it starts within your mind. Neuroplasticity refers to your brain's ability to reorganize itself based on environments, based on functionality, based on behavior, thinking, and emotions. So this is great news. You get to create this every single day based on the emotions, the thinking, the environments that you're creating and will continue to create. When you start tapping into the power of neuroplasticity in your mind and being aware that you can change literally everything that's going on around you, starting in here, I literally mean buckle up, really buckle up. I first started studying this with Dr. Joe Dispenza, reading some of his books, and it changed my life. So embrace the power of neuroplasticity and hold yourself accountable to the power of your mind. The birth of new neurons can rewire and completely reshape your brain. If that's not worth having a party, I don't know what is. That's literally how I felt when I first heard about this. I actually had an experience of a traumatic head injury when I was very, very young, and different life experiences of different types of trauma. And I remember when I first learned about neuroplasticity, I'm like, this is the golden ticket. This literally almost in some ways erases everything that you've experienced in your life and can create new. And I implore you to consider this hope and this decision to step into what you are empowered to create. Again, your beliefs create your thoughts, which create your feelings and emotions, which create your decisions, which create your actions, which create your results, which create your life. So remember the power that your mind has. The next thing I want to talk to you about is the role that you have as an observer. So in your life, you may often feel like you are in situations, you feel so triggered, you can feel that like swirling emotional experience if you've ever had a fight where you just lose touch with everything and you're just so in it. What starts to happen to you as you're cultivating more and more mindfulness and awareness is that you create space. This can come as simply as being immediately aware of this present moment. So in this exact moment, take a moment to tap into right now. Feel your pulse. Literally, feel your pulse. Take a breath. Listen. What sounds are you hearing right now? Take an inhale. Smell. What smells can you smell right now? Maybe touch yourself, touch your clothes, touch your fingertips. Feel. You are in this present moment right now. You're able to be in that moment in every moment. And guess where life is happening? Life is happening right now. So this simple tool and technique of being completely in your moment is so powerful because this is the only thing that exists. The next time you're with a loved one, the next time you're working on a project, the next time you're serving, just consider, am I fully in this moment? And if you're not, take a breath, feel, touch, be in the moment, smell. Engage your 5 senses and even your 6th sense to be fully present. The other thing that I want to mention is the ability in those present moments to fully be in your heart. You can have a moment to take a deep breath, to feel your heart open, to come from a place of love. And this is such a different energy than anxiety, depression, being in a space where, you're catastrophizing, you're thinking of the next thing, you're thinking of what's in it for you. Coming at a place of an open heart, of love, of thinking of love to the person that you're with, to the people that you're serving, that's so powerful. And literally opening your heart, you can picture a pink light opening from your chest, you can picture yourself connected to those around you, and just feeling that opening, that place of love and compassion. When you embrace the opportunity to be observing yourself in your life versus in every single interaction, that space that comes from the awareness, you're able to see from a little bit of a different perspective. Through that space, you're able to say, I would have done things a little bit differently, versus when you're all the way in it and you can't really see from any other perspective. As you embrace and create more and more space and mindfulness, you start to have these aha moments when you're actually in the interactions. It's almost like seeing yourself in the interaction. This can take some practice. Some of you might already be able to experience that now. Some of you might be like, what is she talking about? But I promise, as you start to do this more and more, you'll see, oh, okay, just having a little bit more space and not just being only about me being able to feel the full scope of an interaction. When you create this space, the other thing that starts to happen is you can see what is true in this moment versus what are stories. And these stories are going to become very apparent to you. They're the things that have been holding you back for your whole life or parts of your life. They're the roadblocks that you bump up across. They're the things that might be holding you back from going to the next level. When you're in that observer role, you can start to identify your stories more easily. You're literally going to be in different interactions and be able to say, oh, that's a story, that's a story, that's a story. What are some examples of stories? Oh, sorry I'm late, I'm always late. Oh, I'm so bad at relationships, I'm just better off single. Oh, I'm the worst with money. My mom always said that I'm bad with money, that I'm a spender. These are stories that you just might be telling yourself out loud or in your head over and over and over, and they're really powerful because they're affirming the life that you can create from this moment on. When you keep taking those stories as truth and thinking that this is the way it is, you're not really creating that space for something new, for the alchemy of life to make something different appear. So tuning into your stories. As I'm speaking, you might be having aha moments and saying, oh, I can hear my stories right now. Take a moment, writing them down, having that awareness, and as a journaling exercise, allow yourself to get into where did this story come from? Is it still true today? What could be a different way to experience this story that I haven't considered? What could be true? And give yourself the time to write about those. So you have beliefs, you have the ability to observe, you have stories, and you also have something so valuable that at the time when you were going through it may not have felt like that. Guess what that is, my friends? Contrast and lessons. So over the experience of your life, things have gone great and things have gone not so great. In the not so great, there could be tremendous amounts of pain and suffering. This could come from things like expectations or not meeting an expectation. It could be coming from attachments. Those two tend to be some of the most powerful inherent sources of suffering. Whatever you have felt as challenge or suffering though, it's coming from something. And the great news is that there was also a gift. And this gift is the contrast. The contrast of being able to see what is not really jiving with you and what is. Through that suffering, there is an experience, a lesson, a story that you're saying, no, thank you. When you can really take an opportunity to look back and see what was the lesson, literally whatever it is, it could be the most simple, mundane lesson to the most powerful, I will never do that again. Some lessons that you will have to learn a few times to really get. I'm encouraging you to look back at your most powerful experiences of trauma, suffering, attachment, and understand for a moment what those lessons are. I've created a really nice worksheet to help you work through this. In the experience of going back and looking at the suffering or traumatic moments, this could be some upheaval, and know that you are safe in the moment. Create some space, create an opportunity for you to look as the observer, and through this process, you're going to see some of those underlying belief systems and patterns that keep coming up because of suffering, because of protecting, because of the trauma, and what you can release. In this process, you're going to look at the trauma and the suffering, you're going to look at the lesson, and you're going to look at what you can release. It is so powerful. You can make this really fun. I've done this where I've done all the work. I've listed all of the moments of trauma and suffering. I've listed all the lessons that I really want to ingrain and make sure, okay, this is what I learned. This is what I was responsible for in that experience. If there's something that felt completely out of your control, maybe it's just being able to see the lesson is to have more compassion for someone that went through a similar circumstance, that you literally didn't experience any role of responsibility, but you could say, this is how I'll have compassion for someone else. There is such a gift for you in there if you let yourself look and feel it. And then lastly, releasing, letting go. not letting these stories continue to hold you back. Some of this is stored so deeply in your body, you've been carrying around for literally 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, however long. So the upheaval of this and the letting go can take some time. But as you become more and more aware, you're creating that space and you're allowing the space for it to let go.